Dear M.P.P. Mayor, in this case it's today's representing as Executive Assistant to M.P.P. Mayor.
Hold it up.
All of us here, whether parents, grandparents, or concerned citizens, are your constituents in the riding of Ottawa-Vanier. We're here to make you aware of the reasons why we oppose the Liberal government's controversial sex ed curriculum. But before I describe those concerns, I'd like to respectfully remind you that you are duly elected to represent your constituents. That means representing all of us concerned parents, grandparents, and the thousands more who could not be here today. You are not the party's representative to this riding. You are our representative to Queen's Park. We are here to request that you oppose the sex ed curriculum as publicly and vigorously as you can at every turn. We want you to work towards its repeal in the legislature, even though it means publicly disagreeing with your party leader. This age-inappropriate sex education curriculum was written under the direction of a convicted child pornographer, Benjamin Levin, the former Deputy Education Minister. This past March, he pleaded guilty to 2 child pornography-related charges and 1 pedophilia-related charge. Parents have every reason to see his involvement in the writing of sexual instructions for children as a red flag, given that so much of this curriculum gives children as young as 6 too much information too soon and has an undertone of sexual permissiveness. Is Mr. Levin's influence the reason for the permissive undertone we see in the curriculum? Is Mr. Levin the reason so much explicit sex talk is introduced so young? Was it for the purpose of lowering children's inhibitions regarding sexual matters? Thank you. We are here with heavy hearts. Heavy with concern for our children and grandchildren, whom we know will be sexualized by a flawed and reckless curriculum that is driven by the ideologies of people like Benjamin Levin and Planned Parenthood, not by science. We know that much of what's in the sex ed program totally contradicts the guidelines for healthy, age-appropriate information as established by reputable child and adolescent psychiatrists. Thank you. The curriculum will not increase child safety. It will make them more unsafe, nor will it reduce their risk for sexually transmitted diseases. Instead, it will increase their risk for STIs by nudging them towards premature sexual experimentation and by withholding facts about the risks of certain sexual behaviors.
Here.
The Ontario Liberal government sex ed curriculum pushes elementary school children to view sex as a purely recreational activity whose sole purpose is pleasure aside from love or marriage. It is very telling the words love and marriage never appear once in this curriculum, and it plants inappropriate adult concepts of sex in the minds of children before they would ever begin to seriously consider engaging in these activities. For example, anal intercourse and oral sex. Now I will go through a list of just some of the curriculum content that we find objectionable, age inappropriate, too explicit, or harmful to the well-being of children.
Thank you for coming.
And oral sex promotes a lowering of the immune system of the woman.
As early as grade 1, kids will be taught about sexual consent. Not only how to say no, but the education minister has made clear also how to say yes. We don't have a problem with teaching kids to scream and say, "Don't touch me, you pervert," if somebody touches their private parts, but the consent lessons will go beyond that. Suggesting to children this young that they have the right to say yes to sexual touching is not only irresponsible, but potentially illegal. In Canada, minor children cannot legally give consent, so how is it that educators will tell them they can give sexual consent? In grade 3, children will be taught the disputed theory of gender identity as if it were fact. 8-year-olds will be taught that whether you're a boy or a girl does not necessarily relate to your physical anatomy. It's merely a social construct. Gender is fluid and you can choose your own gender.
Shame! Your DNA says male or female, not anything else.
Amen.
Change genetics.
This flawed theory will produce serious sexual confusion in the minds of young children. In grade 6, page 175 of the curriculum encourages children to masturbate as a pleasurable way for 11-year-olds to learn about their body. It reads as follows, and I quote, "Exploring one's body by touching or masturbating is something that many people do and find pleasurable." In grade 7, the curriculum will teach 12-year-olds about anal intercourse and oral sex. That's on page 196 of the curriculum. It introduces these sexual practices under the guise of discussing STDs. The fact is, this will amount to planting the idea of these sexual behaviors in the minds of children who may never yet have considered partaking in them until now. For some children, this will pique their curiosity, and guess what? It might actually trigger them to want to try it. Another problem is that it puts anal sex on par with vaginal intercourse, without pointing out moral concerns or the astronomically higher health risks that are associated with anal sex, especially HIV infection. That's irresponsible and puts children's lives at risk. Also, in grade 7, page 199 of the curriculum instructs teachers on how to introduce the subject of sexual pleasure. Remember, these are 12-year-olds we're talking about. The teacher prompt wants the teacher to describe to the student that sexual health is about, and I quote, "understanding of your own body, including what gives you pleasure." Although Benjamin Levin is probably very comfortable with this lesson, a lot of parents feel this is on the creepy, perverted side of things. Do you really want grown men helping 12-year-old girls understand what gives them sexual pleasure?
Well, if he's a liberal, it makes it okay.
No!
Dumbass.
In grade 8, the teacher may recommend that students as young as 13 years old make a personal plan about your sexual activity. The teacher is to help students make a sexual plan for themselves to help them decide how far they're willing to go with sexual activity and then stick to what I had planned. Again, the undertone here is permissive. It will be perceived by many kids as giving license to become sexually active. Dear M.P.P. Meilleur-Ottawa-Vanier, Executive Assistant, in 2010, when outraged parents forced Dalton McGuinty to react the curriculum after only 3 days of it being introduced, he promised that the government would give parents, and I quote, "the opportunity to lend shape to a curriculum with which they are comfortable."
Another liberal lie. Yeah, lies.
Guess what?
They all lie.
That opportunity for meaningful parental input never took place. Parents still aren't comfortable with it. Kathleen Wynne is ramming this unpopular curriculum down the throats of parents. We ask you, for the sake of innocent children, please protect them from being sexualized by this irresponsible sex curriculum. Please work unceasingly to repeal this program. Thank you for listening to our concerns. Thank you.
Answers!
Does somebody have the petitions by chance? Signed petitions? Yeah, we just want to give Madeleine